Hello there, I'm Lloyd Evans. Welcome to The Bunker. It's time for another voicemail. This time we have a caller named Nani. Let's hear what Nani has to say.
Hi, Lloyd. My name is Nani. I actually never thought I'd be doing a voicemail like this, but I feel like I've been struggling with something, and I've seen a lot of the questions pertaining to interpersonal relationships. I actually was a little bit more concerned about something else. So, what I've noticed since I left the organization, and I used to be a regular pioneer in foreign language and a bunch of other stuff, totally miserable doing it, but I did all of it. Um, but as of right now, I'm trying to build a business of my own to be able to present intergenerational wealth to my family finally, because, historically in America, as people of color, that's one thing we've never been able to do. And I've always not resented, but since I've left, I've resented the fact that, like, especially in America, Black Americans are already trying to catch up. And if you're a witness and you're Black, you're even further behind because you have people actively telling you all of the time, ambition is a sin, ambition is a sin, you shouldn't try to have money, you shouldn't try to do this. But I would always see a marked difference. Like, the white brothers and sisters were always way better off than we were. So the question that I'm trying to present is, how would you suggest we could uproot that fear of ambition? Because now that I'm out, like, I want to do music, I want to start a real estate company, like, I want to do a bunch of stuff, but it's like I have all of these desires, but I don't have the energy to fulfill them or to do anything about them. Like, I'll get started, but I can't follow through. And it's weird because I'll start feeling like me trying to start a business or trying to put myself out there is wrong. And now that I've kind of pinpointed that issue and that emotion, and it's so strong in me, I'm trying to figure out, is it just a leap of faith? Is it just that I should just start doing stuff and not worry about what happens, just do it? Or is there some more deprogramming that I need to do? And like, I've only woken up as like the past 2 years, so maybe I'm being impatient with myself. But I really want to build wealth for myself, for my family. I want to be in music. I want to have a podcast. There's a lot of different things that I would like to do, but I just feel so much guilt. And I don't even know if it's guilt at this point anymore, if it's just guilt that has been buried so deep inside of me that I don't know how to identify it. I don't want to talk in circles because I have a bad habit of doing that. I hope that made sense. Just how can you regain a healthy relationship with ambition? Like, you seem to have a pretty successful YouTube channel. You're an activist. You speak out about issues, answer people's questions. How did you break out of that shell if that wasn't even an issue for you? To be able to go toward what your goals were and what you talk about your feelings and really fulfill your dreams. Like, how do you do that? Well, anyway, thank you again for everything that you do. I really appreciate you. You've been so helpful to me. My boyfriend's not a witness, never has been, but he's learned so much from your videos. So thanks so much. Hope to hear this on an episode. Bye.
Thank you so much. That was a very kind message. Thank you for those very generous words of praise. And you've highlighted a really important issue, I think, which is, how do we go from being broke cult followers to living a normal, successful life on the outside? It is an issue. It was an issue for me. And this was even with the white privilege. And I think that is an important issue that you've struck on there, that it is going to be easier when you are white. I know that there are some people who disagree with that, but I think it's been proven in some cases in America where a black family has been trying to sell their home, and when they've brought a white person in to pose as the owner of the property, the valuation of the property has suddenly shot up. That's white privilege. It's there. It's not like we can argue about this anymore. It is a fact. And even with this white privilege, I did struggle as a Jehovah's Witness. I write about this in The Reluctant Apostate. When I got married, I was broke. I was completely broke. I'd been spending years pioneering. I did take a break in my pioneering where I was so broke that I didn't have any choice but to work full time, which I did for about a year and a half. And then I went back to pioneering. So it was basically like 10 years of just being broke, assuming that serving the organization came first and my own success and prosperity and financial well-being came a distant second, shouldn't even be a consideration. It didn't matter if I got into a whole heap of debt. So long as I was putting Jehovah first, everything would just magically fix itself. And so I came with all of this naivety to live in Croatia, and we were totally broke when we arrived in Croatia, and it took us a long, long time to get back on our feet. And it wasn't just through my activism. I became a professional activist at the beginning of 2017 when I released my book, The Reluctant Apostate. Up until that point, we'd had to support ourselves with translation. So Deanna would do translation, and if there was text in English that needed proofreading, I would proofread that text. And we sort of got by doing that for quite a while. Now, of course, with the support being what it is on Patreon, this is now my full-time job. And it's been years since I've needed to proofread some random English document that's been translated. We've found a way of getting by. We've found something that suits us, something that suits me. I've found something that I'm passionate about, something that I guess I'm good at. And I think that's most of the challenge, to be honest. You know, I'm no expert on entrepreneurship, and I would be very suspicious of anyone who claimed to be an expert on entrepreneurship, on prosperity, on making a success of yourself. I don't really buy into all that. I'm naturally suspicious of any gurus who come along with huge followings and claim to have the secret of success when it comes to financial prosperity. I think it's just about finding something you're good at, something that you're either passionate about or just know you're skilled at doing, and just sticking with it. And it's the sticking with it that you seem to be struggling with, because you seem to have these ingrained feelings that it's wrong. You say you don't have energy, and when you look into how you feel and you apply some introspection, you feel as though it's wrong to be pursuing these things. And that's an area in which you might want to pursue some kind of therapy or counseling. Again, not with a guru, not with a lifestyle guru who claims to have all the answers when it comes to wealth and prosperity. I'm talking about with a therapist, with a counselor. If you have ingrained phobias or ingrained elements of your indoctrination that are holding you back, that's the remit of a therapist. But once you've got rid of that, once you've got rid of any underlying problems when it comes to self-loathing or feeling inadequate if you do pursue success and prosperity, yes, it's just a case of finding something that you can do well, something that you're good at, and or something that you're passionate about, and sticking with it. And the best example I can give you is when I was writing my book, The Reluctant Apostate. It's hard to write a book. I mean, look at it. Excuse me, R2. R2 was on a copy. So this is my book, The Reluctant Apostate. I'm not plugging it per se. I'm just showing you how thick the damn thing is. And I never set out to write an 800-page book. I had something that was maybe half this size in mind when I first started writing it. It's just that as I was writing it, I realized that if I'm going to talk about this, I need to talk about this. And why don't I research Joseph Rutherford? And before I know it, 800 pages. That was really difficult to write. And it took a lot of work. And I wrote it over a number of years. But I can remember stumbling on something. I forget where I saw it. It might have been something on YouTube where someone was talking about your future self. Do right by your future self. What would your future self want you to do now to make things better for you in the future? And I found that way of thinking helpful. So yes, I'm only 4 or 5 chapters in to this book, and there's a huge mountain of work ahead of me. But what would my future self want me to do? How do I go about finishing this so that by 2017, there's a finished book and it's done and it can go up on Amazon and it can start making a difference and it can transform my activism work? How do I get to that stage? Because just sitting down at your computer on a Monday morning, knowing that you've got a chapter to write, you have writer's block to deal with, you are easily distracted by Twitter or what's going on Facebook, and ultimately it can be a huge hurdle just to write the first few words. And the way I got round it was to very methodically set myself a word count for every day that I was writing. So I'd figure out literally what days were my writing days. I'd assign myself a word count, and I would use a spreadsheet to show me whether I was on top of my word count or behind it, or in some cases just ahead. And I found that by doing things that methodically, I'm the sort of person where I need to see the numbers. I need to see how far behind I am. I need to know how big the problem is, if there is a problem, or I need to know that there isn't a problem. So what I'm saying is, find something that you're good at, or that you love, or that you're passionate about, and stick with it. And if there are hurdles to overcome them one by one, methodically. Don't allow them to overwhelm you to the point where you feel as though it's impossible to achieve what you want to achieve. Literally write out what it is that you need to do and just work through that list. And if you work through that list to the point where there's nothing left to tick off, congratulations, you've done it. You've reached that goal. So I guess take things one step at a time. Don't expect too much of yourself. Don't overface yourself with unreasonable expectations. Give yourself manageable tasks that you know you can achieve, and work with your future self in mind. Think, what does my future self want me to do now, so that in the future everything's going to be so much better, and I will have achieved what I set out to achieve. That's all I can really say. Again, I'm just not an expert. I'm not a guru. I'm very suspicious of gurus and people who claim to know everything about life and success. But that's what's worked for me. And if it helps you in any way, then that will be great. But if you have underlying hang-ups that are residual effects of your indoctrination, and they're holding you back significantly, then yeah, I think getting some therapy or some counselling from a professional would be the way forward. But that's all I really have to say on that particular voicemail. I hope my thoughts have been helpful. Don't forget that if you would like to leave a voicemail, the thing to do is scurry on over to speakpipe.com/Seeders, remembering to indicate very clearly and transparently if you do not want me to share your message on this channel in front of potentially tens of thousands of people. Let me know clearly. But that's about it. Don't forget to subscribe to the Lloyd Evans channel for more such videos. And as always, thank you for watching.